Hey, welcome everybody to On Microsoft, On Podcast, the On Microsoft podcast that talks about Microsoft things on a podcast. I am your co-host today, Kareem Anderson. I'm joined by the world's greatest co-host,
Arif Bacchus.
and we'll be talking about Microsoft stuff on this podcast. We have lots of it today. We're glad you guys are joining us. But it's going to be looks like a jam-packed Windows, Xbox kind of gaming podcast. So for those of you who've been waiting for one of those, we got it for you. I'll
uh,
let
so
you, start. Just give us some of the rundown.
so we have three topics of discussion today. Our first one is Xbox cloud gaming finally coming to Windows 10. I know we talked about this like every podcast for like the last, what was it, 6 months,
Year.
year. When
Well,
is
I mean,
X?
we've been on for about 6 months, but
Yeah,
we've been writing about this for years.
when is X Cloud going to come to Windows 10? And now it's finally here. And I
Yeah,
have some hands-on time with that I want to talk about.
that'll be fun. Then we're going to be talking about new Windows 10 App Store rumors. We kind of dismissed this when we had the very minor refresh, but it looks like this we got a whole bunch of new information about it. So we'll be talking about, what the new App Store might mean.
And then I know the third topic is one that has been very controversial on Twitter in Panos Panay's Twitter replies.
Might be
Um,
interesting if you were to say so, right?
yeah, good segue. News and interest is now rolling out in the Windows 10 taskbar over the next few weeks in quotes, whatever that means. So that is our third topic, and we'll get into what news and interest is if you guys aren't familiar with it. And then for a week ahead, we have a lot of reviews coming up, if I'm not mistaken.
We do. We have your Dell XPS 13 review, the two-in-one.
Yep.
You've been kind of eagerly awaiting that, and I mean, just from our own conversations off mic, you've been super excited about that. So we'll see how it's worn on you after a couple more days.
And then I also have my MLB The Show 21 review, which, as we said last week, was coming to, well, it's not coming to, is now on Xbox Game Pass. And I've been playing the game a little bit obsessively the last week. So I had some solid hands on time with the game. So look forward to my review next week. And then I know
And
that there's also
go
some
ahead.
news about Linux on Windows 10.
Yeah, for all of our developer friends out there, and for the people that have been chanting that this is the year of Linux, it may actually be 2021 may actually be. We're getting Linux GUI apps in Windows 10, so you won't need to use VMs necessarily anymore. So that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, and why don't you get us started by introducing Xbox Cloud Gaming on Windows 10? I know you're a Windows 10 fan, and this is like right up your alley to have Xbox on Windows 10.
Yeah, we finally have gotten it, and it came as a bundle with Windows 10 and iOS. So previously, kind of giving a quick history, they tested it out. They opened it up for iOS and Android. They really got the ball going on Android for a while. Couldn't get the store agreements or the licensing or however the back business deals were made to get it on iOS. So they just shut it down. And it ran for about 6 months last year, I believe, or so, somewhere between the summer and with an official end date, I believe, in November or so, or something like that. So they ran it for insiders at the beginning of summer. They ran a full kind of beta in October. Then they shut it all down again, going into winter. And this is all on Android. We were all expecting it to, Windows is their primary platform. They finally got it to work on this, and they're doing it via the browser. So just to kind of get more details, starting April 20th, which was earlier this week, it became possible to enjoy xCloud games on iOS and Windows 10 via the web. As we said, they're doing your browser, not doing dedicated apps, so we don't need to worry about Electron or anything like that. They're going to do straight to the browser. I mean, this is probably how they got around the iOS issue as well, and in-app purchases, which is kind of another thing we could talk about it for a different day. It's only for select Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members, but it has access to over 100 cloud-enabled Xbox games on Windows 10 PCs and Apple iPhones or iPads via the web. You have to go to xbox.com/play to try it out. Again, I believe this was so far invite only, and they're rolling out invites. So this wasn't like they gave a batch and that's it. More people, as we've been searching the web, have been getting invites. I haven't gotten one, so I'm looking at you, Xbox. I'd love to try it out. But my co-host got one. Other people are getting them. So check. I believe it's email.
Yeah,
Uh,
they send out an invite to your email tied to your Microsoft account, and you just follow the instructions and click the link, and you're able to get started.
yeah, I spent 20 minutes cursing at the app saying, refreshing, where is it? Where is it? And it tells me it's via email.
uh,
Microsoft's cloud gaming technology will work on Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Apple Safari. So again, any browser, basically, you just have to go to the right URL. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members who receive a beta invite will just need a compatible Bluetooth or USB connected controller to get started. But there are over 50 Xbox Game Pass games that also support touch controls, which I think you kind of have some hands-on with that kind of stuff for the touch controls. That'll be interesting because again, I've played every Xbox game with an Xbox controller. Well, I take that back. There was that, what was it, Halo, the one for Windows Phone. What was it? Something Strike or Assault, something or other. It was like the Halo for smartphones. That was the touch control one, but that's fun. I'll let you get into some of your hands-on though if you want to.
Yeah, so I spent the bulk of yesterday. Today's Saturday. We filmed Saturday, and yesterday was Friday. I spent, I think it was about 5 or so hours playing around with this and filming B-roll and setting up my tripod and all kinds of fancy stuff for it. And I tried it out, and the thing I love about it is that it's super simple. And since it works via the web, you could try it on almost anything. I tried it on my XPS 13 2-in-1. I tried it on my HP Envy laptop. I tried it on my iPhone. And of course, I was already trying xCloud on my Android. But the UI of xbox.com/play, which is where you go to try out the experience, it is really clean and really concise. They have different areas that you could go to try to look at the games. Up top, they have featured games where you could check out games that Microsoft is promoting. They have a jump back in section where you could go and play games that you were either already playing on Xbox or PC or even on the cloud. Then they have a special section for games where you could play with touch. Minecraft Dungeon is one of the games that were there, and also like some of those classic games like Celeste and Bridge Construction Portal. And there's a, like Kareem said, there's 50 games that you could play with touch. And then there's another section where Microsoft promotes games that were added to Game Pass and games that are leaving soon. Then you could also sort by different game types. Of course, that's just the main UI that I wanted to get into. And anyway, I played it mainly on Windows 10, and I hardwired my computer in via Ethernet to make sure that I'm not getting any lag, because to play Xbox Cloud Gaming on the web, Microsoft suggests that you use a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection, or that you have I think it's 10 megabits per second internet, which is below or above broadband speed. I'm not sure, but you do need a solid internet connection to do all of the streaming because you're streaming through the web. And there were a couple of games that I specifically played in my time. Of course, since I'm a baseball fan, I have my Mets hat here. I played MLB The Show 21, which is on Xbox X Cloud. I mean, I'll say X Cloud a lot, but that's not the official name. It's officially called Xbox Cloud Gaming. But I played MLB The Show 21 on X Cloud on Windows 10, and you know what really disappointed me is the loading times, because right now cloud gaming works with Xbox One S consoles and not the new next gen consoles. So you're waiting quite a lot to get games to load. MLB The Show, it takes even 2 minutes to load from the menu to where you're actually playing the game, and it's really disappointing. But I know Microsoft is working on the to upgrade the server blades. I think you might know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They were planned initially, and this is before pre-COVID. When supplies weren't constrained, and the roadmap was to start off with Xbox S servers and then upgrade gradually with Xbox One X, is it one X?
Xbox Series X and S.
Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S servers as well. And they were also going to do some sort of mesh networking to allow you to actually use your own device to kind of piggyback off of. I don't know if I don't think it's part of xCloud just yet, but they were going to let you. So, I mean, this may be a way to run around the constraints, the shortages, is to let people piggyback off their own current consoles and the connections they have for that. But I mean, back to what you were saying originally, I was going to ask, do you feel like it's kind of cheating to use the hardwired connection, even though this is supposed to be like cloud gaming, so to speak?
Well, I mean, if you really want the, like I said, if you want the best experience, you do want to be hardwired. Everyone that was testing it, I know, Brad, Sam, Staro, and even Tom Warren from The Verge, they all were physically plugged in to their PC when they were
Yeah, I
streaming.
just feel like at that point though, you're just like you're playing on a piece. Like, what is the cloud part of it? If
That's true.
but it, if
But
but to
look,
be hardwired in.
don't judge me hard just yet because I
Oh,
still
I'm
didn't
not.
I still didn't finish because I do have a lot more to talk about because I did try also other games because you can't just use one game and then say, oh, it's shit. You have to try the entire scope of everything that they have to offer. So I did play also Forza Motorsport 7 because that is another one of those games that's graphically intense and graphically heavy. And to my surprise, hello, that loaded in, what was it, like a minute? Less than a minute, even. So some games are quick and some games are slow to load. And
So what
it's
you're saying
mainly.
is Sony is sabotaging them with
It could
MLB.
could be, maybe. But yeah, Forza was quick to
This is
load.
a Trojan horse. Like, oh, we'll give them MLB, but we'll make it a really crappy experience, and people come running back to PlayStation. I see what you're doing, Sony.
Forza was quick to load, and new Super Lucky's Tale was quick to load, and all of these other like Xbox exclusive games, they're quick to load. And generally speaking, once you load in and you're playing, there's no screen tear, there's no input lag, and there's no latency when you're hardwired. That is, but of course, XCloud does support touch, like you were hinting at earlier, and because of that, I went beyond just hardwired and I did play Minecraft Dungeons on my XPS 13. Like I physically folded over the screen and held it in my hands. You guys probably saw it in the thumbnail for the video. And playing on a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection on Windows 10, the experience is a little so-so, depending on what game you're playing. Minecraft Dungeons is okay. There wasn't that much lag or that much like screen tear or input lag. You're using the touch controls and the controls are tweaked for the game itself. Like you'll see a joystick on the left and then the A, B, X, Y buttons, they have the control for the game itself. Like one is for a sword and then one is to take your health and then one is to do inventory. So they've customized the controls for the game itself for Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is not new. It's already been like this for months now on Android, but it's pretty nice to be able to like grab it and go and play without an Xbox controller.
Yeah, and for anybody who's maybe got a Surface Go 2, which is a
Yeah,
little,
like yourself.
yeah. Again, waiting for my invite. I'm going to try it out because I know that the XPS is kind of can
Bigger,
be
yeah.
an unwieldy kind of device when you can get your hands a little closer and be able to kind of move your fingers a little more freely across the entire surface. It might be a different experience. So again, for those who have Surface Goes 2, because I believe those are the only small-ish Windows
Yeah,
devices these days
10
below.
inches.
Yeah, so we'll have to hopefully try that out and see how it touches on that. And when they bring it back in full force to Android again, we'll see how touch works again. If they've made any improvements on it since the last go around.
But because I am an Apple person and also have an iPhone, I did play on iOS using the strange workaround that Microsoft has come up with, where you could add the app as a shortcut on your home screen. And
Mm-hmm.
once you do that, it loads it through Safari in full screen. So you get the same
Ooh.
experience that you have on Windows and other platforms. and there's no telling it apart. And then obviously you snap the controller in and you pair it with Bluetooth and you play that way. And generally speaking, I would say playing on iOS and Android, there's a lot more lag and there's a lot more like loading and screen tear and freezing screens and coming back and going forward and having to refresh and losing your place than there is on Windows. I think playing on the web via Windows is more clean and more concise and more of a native experience than it is on playing on an iPhone. Maybe it's because I was hardwired, and maybe it's just because I have a good Wi-Fi network. But generally speaking, I say the experience is better on Windows 10 than it is on Android and it is on iOS.
So what you're saying is they still need some work to work it out across all platforms to get it smooth. Because again, I'm putting this against, we all laugh about it, but Stadia, I think where they obviously went wrong was the gaming aspect, like the business part of gaming. Like they didn't have the deals, they didn't really put in the infrastructure for it. But the technology is sound. I still play it, I still use it. I've connected and played it in multiple places. I tested it at work,
Yep.
here at the house, on the road, like everywhere I've gone and used different devices, used my Pixel phone, I've used Windows laptops, things like that, and it's played pretty flawlessly on all those things. And again, this isn't hardwired or anything. So, um, looking at you, Microsoft, you need to get the online aspect of it nailed. And I think you obviously have the business savvy to keep all the deals and games in place. Just get the technology sound.
Pun intended. It's a little bit of hit and miss. So far, in since Friday and Saturday, when I've been playing with it, some days it loads quickly and everything is perfect and I don't have no lag. But like other days, it's slow and it doesn't work the way that it did a couple of hours ago. But obviously, it's not an official product. It's not officially rolled out. It's still in beta. So the feedback that we have here is something that Microsoft will consider, and they're gonna try and build it to make it better.
Yeah, hopefully they'll not follow the duo, which seems to be doing the same sort of roadmap of working, not working, working, not working sometimes. With all that said, I mean, we still have other gaming news,
Yeah.
and some of it's not good. Um, we just got information, I believe, later in the week about the Nintendo Switch shutting down.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's what is it, the Xbox Game Pass? Is that what it was?
Every time Microsoft has one of these gaming events, people are looking in the background and they see a Nintendo Switch like on the shelf. So for the last year, there's been rumors that Game Pass might come to Nintendo Switch, but that was shut down, as you were saying.
Yeah, it is not. It has been confirmed that it's via Twitter. You said?
Yeah, via Twitter. A video game a video game industry veteran analyst said on Twitter that Nintendo has confirmed to him that they will not allow other streaming services on the Nintendo Switch. And this is David Gibson, I believe.
Yeah. Now we also have to say that they specifically use the phrasing portable consoles. So if and when who knows where Nintendo's going to go with their next console. They could be. I think they're in the middle of a mid refresh, so we might just get the beefed up Switch. I think has been rumored, but they may go back to more hardwired or more traditional style consoles and allow it there. So we'll see. Hopefully, at some point, we'll get a Game Pass on a Switch or Switch-like device in the future for Nintendo, because I think it's the Nintendo gets the benefit of all of the games that
All
they
right.
don't cater to, the audience that they don't necessarily have, and Xbox fans or Xbox gamers or people who subscribe to it get the access to hardware that
Right.
Xbox isn't making. So it's a win-win, I think, for everybody.
And then there was also some other news about Game Pass, not Game Pass, Xbox, is that free to play games on Xbox no longer require Xbox Live Gold, which is something that
Yay!
we talked about a few weeks ago when they were beta testing it, but now it's official.
Yeah, it's we've I would say this has been like a decades long thing where people kept asking to get rid of Xbox Live for the things that are unnecessary to it, like the multiplayer stuff and the free access games and just apps in general. So it seems like Microsoft is pulling all that stuff back. And I believe this is part and parcel with the fact that they're getting money for Game Pass itself. They don't need to necessarily nickel and dime us for Xbox Live anymore when they can just make the revenue up with Game Pass and just keep adding games and they'll probably keep increasing the price. I know you guys are gonna hate hearing that, but I'm sure they're gonna incrementally increase the price just like Netflix is doing. I think Disney Plus last week or this week has raised their price as well. So expect to see Game Pass, with a bunch of features, hopefully, xCloud included, probably go up in price, and this will be how they circumvent potential lost revenue from Xbox Live.
But enough about Xbox. Let's go on to talk about the Windows 10 App Store, which
This is
is
why you
getting.
guys came.
Yeah, this is what everyone is here for. Everyone here is a Windows fan.
Yes, we're all Windows fans, and we are, according to Zach, I believe, got another exclusive over at Windows Central. The new, which is talking about a new Microsoft Store. The new store app could deliver major redesign changes and solve the app gap problem that developers and Windows users have long complained about. I believe we had a story that Mary Jo Foley got exclusive about. This is 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, where Microsoft was shutting down their education and
Right.
business stores. And we were trying to see, we were wondering what this could mean for the potential consolidation of a Microsoft store, or if they were going to use stores anymore, if it was even worth the uh, business and headache for them to do it. Now with this rumor coming out, and I think Zach has been pretty spot on with a lot of what he's been saying. So I'm going to take it with the smallest grain of salt. We're getting a revitalized storefront that's more open to both end users and developers. Part of the plans is to have a visual redesign of the store app itself. This should make it less slow, more visually appealing, and more in line with hopefully the rumored Sun Valley visuals overhauls that we're getting for Windows 10. We don't know what any of those are as far as the visuals, but I do see this as potentially pretty huge. And again, not just shuffling around pixels on the screen, but the fact that I believe they're going to be undoing. People are able to submit traditional unpackaged Win32 apps. That's the biggest thing here. Aside from the visuals, aside from the redesign, the Sun Valley look, which again I think is nice. We're getting Win32 unpackaged apps into the store, so people again don't have to scour the internet to go find their favorite places. You don't need to necessarily go to Adobe to get your Adobe apps. And I know every time I sign for Adobe, there's always like McAfee always pre-checked for me. You don't have to worry about that if you get it from the Windows Store. So these are the kind of things we should be excited about, that they're finally loosening the belt on that. This, again, like you said, this is years in the making. We've been asking them to kind of do this. And I believe this is going back to what I just originally opened with. I believe this is why they got rid of education and enterprise altogether,
Right.
because now they'll just have the one store where they can kind of keep security at an all-time high. They can maintain it. They don't have to maintain three different stores. People don't necessarily need to go different places. They can just get all their apps in this one spot. And I believe Microsoft to make a pretty decent penny off of all of these exchanges as well. So I'm excited for it.
And does that mean like we could finally see Teams and like all the Microsoft apps that are missing finally come to the Windows Store?
That is what I would think they need to upload first. Like that, we get that home screen and it's always like, oh, here's your social apps and here's your like productivity apps. And you look at the productivity, it's all like drawing apps. You're like, where is the office stuff that we need? I believe this is where they'll be able to fill that with all of their apps and they don't necessarily need to rewrite them to even fit their own store needs, which is weird because you would think in order to have their own apps, they would have rewrote them first, then put them in the store and say, "Hey, look at our store." Instead, they said, "Look at our store," and everyone's like, "Where are your apps?" And they're like, "Go back to where you normally get them from."
And
So,
another change that also the apps that will be uploaded to the new store, they will not need to be updated through the store itself. The apps could use their own update mechanism and their own content delivery. So apps could be updated independently of the store itself more quickly than you would. Like, you don't need to submit it through Microsoft and wait. You could just submit your own app update, which is good for browsers like Firefox and Chrome.
yeah, this leads the way for PWAs even further. So again, this is we're all hoping to hear from Microsoft at Build about this. I feel like this, I mean, it's a perfect venue for them. It'll give us hopefully a little bit of insight and a little sneak peek into Sun Valley as well. But I do believe it'd be a huge loss or disappointment if they don't mention this consolidation, this app store, because again, we'll be able to start getting stuff like Firefox, your cloud, Google, and all of its apps and stuff like that will be in the store, basically just making it so much easier for people to go to versus having to, again, open up their Chrome browser. This is also one way to circumvent people using Chrome. You can just go to the store to get your apps instead of having to find your browser and then find the place you get your apps from. So they need to talk about, how they're going to do this, how they're going to package these things and keep them secure, and how they're going to allow developers to maintain updates, but also how they're going to review the updates before they get released. Because you would
This
think, um, even though they get updated from their own infrastructure, Microsoft doesn't want nefarious stuff to just come flying through onto your device.
this means that Sun Valley could shape up to be quite the update, huh?
Yeah, this is pretty huge. And again, I want to see what the visual redesign looks like. Because we've seen the evolution of the store, and it's come a long ways from Windows 8, but it in some ways hasn't. So I'm hoping to see, and I mean, aside from any of the visual things, I'm begging you, Microsoft, and please, I'm sure you have thousands upon millions of these requests, fix the search engine in the store. Because beyond not having the right apps, when people put in the right title for the right app should show up. I believe that's one of the biggest faults in the Microsoft Store is the search feature in it is pretty subpar. So if you can fix that, I don't even care what it looks like.
Oh, so why don't you get us into the other Windows 10 news, which is the news and interest in the taskbar? I know everyone
Uh,
has been lit on Twitter about this.
Here's the drama. After testing the addition of news and interest on the Windows 10 taskbar with select Windows insiders for the recent month, Microsoft announced earlier this week that the new feature will roll out to all Windows 10 users in the coming weeks. So it's no longer just a beta testing. People will start seeing this thing pop up in their taskbar. The experience will provide live updates about local weather right on the taskbar, as well as stackable updates on the news, sports, stocks, and traffic without requiring users to open any apps. Now, you can go in and fine tune these things if you like. You can even get rid of the thing altogether. But I think the fact that it's coming to the taskbar, which a lot of people are arguing is already cluttered as is with the Cortana button, the search button, uh, the new now your news and weather, Wi-Fi, your speakers things, your Meet Now,
Touch
your
button, your
touch
keyboard
button, your
button, your
pen button,
inking
your
button, yeah.
keyboard, yeah, your OneDrive. Like it's where you're gonna put your apps. That stuff you actually need to work with. Where is that gonna fit on this taskbar if we keep putting stuff in it? So, um, yeah, I think that's been the biggest controversy so far is that Microsoft. I mean, aside from that, Panos, who's leading Windows right now, also got ratioed on Twitter because he was very proud of it. I feel bad for the guy, uh, but people were saying that it's nice that news and features is coming, but Sun Valley and like focus on the bigger things. Don't just give us this pittance of an app and feature when there's so many things that need to be fixed with UI consistency. Just I mean, they had that. What is it? The cumulative update last week that like broke
Broke gaming
gaming.
and yeah.
So fix the basic stuff before you start allotting all of this like new stuff and new features,
I think
especially when
news
no
and
one asked for them.
I mean, I know no one didn't ask for news and interest, but I think they're taking a small step towards Sun Valley by including news and interest. Like I know the hub, I used it on my Insider PC where I had it. It's really nice. It looks nice. I mean, there's the touch of fluent design and everything blends in very nicely. I see it as a preview of perhaps what's to come with Sun Valley. I mean, maybe they'll change the taskbar in Sun Valley and change the start menu, and then all of a sudden news and interest will line up with that. You never know.
Yeah, again, I am not anti news and interest at all. I like it. I even like it when you click the actual full layout of it. Like it
All
looks
right.
cool in the
Yeah.
truncated, like taskbar menu. But when you go to the actual web page and see it, it has a nice flow. It has nice gradients. It's got rounded corners, all the things that people want in design. What I think Microsoft needs to do is actually combine the search feature with this. I think they partly do it. If you go into search now, there are times where you can get local weather, local
Yeah.
news. Those are icons there. If you want to, I think they should just fill that section with your news and interest. It again consolidates what's on the taskbar. And I also, and this is what I do personally. I know a lot of people, and it really kind of irks me, but it's just personal pet peeve, is when I see the giant search bar on the taskbar. I usually go and minimize mine to just the magnifying glass. That's how I save space on the taskbar because it does the same thing. So I think if they were to just do that as the default icon, people would gain some real estate back, and it would be able to again stuff this new feature into that. So when people go to look for certain things, they'll at least get a glimpse of that versus having it be a hover over and taking up space in the far right of their taskbar.
But
That's just my
Microsoft
thoughts.
Microsoft always listens to feedback. That is what the feedback hub is for, and
Do they?
that is what the complaining on Twitter and tagging Panos Panay and at Windows Insider is for. So there's always hope that it could change and it could evolve moving forward. Just because it's rolling out now in its current state doesn't mean that that is the final state. They always could tweak it like on the server side and like add or remove features and make it better.
I mean, it's cool, like I said, to be able to see the weather, especially if you live in an area. I know places like Florida, where I'm at in California, the weather doesn't change all that drastically,
Right.
but I'm sure if
Yeah.
you're in like um, further up north, northeast, or if you're in, um, the Midwest, something like that, having that weather down there, you can kind of judge where your day's at before you go outside. So again, that's pretty beneficial, but I think they should toss it into the search functionality and just bundle that entire section. Get rid of the Cortana button as default anyway, because it doesn't do very much. And this is, basically Cortana again, but in a new face. And just put it in the search icon.
All right. Well, that said, I think that was our last topic, which
Yeah,
means it's time for
your favorite section.
the week ahead.
Yes. So we'll start off with the Linux UE apps in Windows 10. We wrote about this, was it last week, mid last week or whatever, when they started announcing it. So you should keep a lookout on that. We're going to, have hopefully we'll have some of our developers and staff kind of get into what this actually means about, how effective the Windows subsystem is for Linux, and if this changes anything for people who are either diehard Linux users or people who have love Windows but have to develop for Linux.
And then, other than that, like you hinted at the top of the show, I'm working on my Dell XPS 13 2-in-1 review, which I just got in a couple days ago. So far, I know me and you have been chatting about it. I love the 16:10 aspect ratio screen. I think more laptops and more laptop makers need to go with 16:10 because it's so like so good for productivity. I know 3:2 is good on Surface, but once you try 16:10, it's hard to go back.
Yeah, I have again. I feel I apologize to everyone here. I'm so backed up with reviews. I got a bunch of stuff I need to get out. But my X1 Titanium, Lenovo's X1 Titanium, has the 16 by 10, and I totally agree with you. I think it's the default. It should be the default for most displays. I know that we all got kind of force fed 16 by 9 because they thought all we wanted to do was watch Netflix on our devices, which I do watch a lot of, and I do watch a lot of YouTube. But I don't mind the borders on my video if I can get more of my website or one of my web pages viewable.
And other than that Dell XPS review, we also have another review of mine, which is MLB The Show 21. Like I said at the top of the show, it is on Xbox Game Pass. And if you're already subscribed to Game Pass, you basically could play the game for free and not have to pay $60. And there is plenty of value in MLB The Show 21. There is a lot you could do. You could, of course, do exhibition games and play like short games between any two teams. You could, if you're on next gen consoles, build your own stadium. You have a Road to the Show where you could start off in the minor leagues and make your way up to a favorite team of yours that you want to dream that you dream of playing. And then there's my favorite one, which is March to October, where you play as your favorite team, and then you have certain scenarios that you get put in every game every so often, and you're playing in those scenarios, and they put you in like in the sixth inning or the fifth inning, and you're pitching or you're batting, and you have to try and win for your team. And this is some of the stuff that I'll be looking at in my full review and giving my impressions of the game so far. Oh, and by the way, it is a visual masterpiece. When you're playing this game, it looks like you're watching an actual baseball game on your TV.
I just want to. I haven't played a baseball game forever, but I want to go back to the times where I could like jack up the prices for concessions in line with how good my team was. I just always loved to like push the crowd to be like, "Hey, a hot dog and a beer are like $25, but we're about to go to the World Series, so are you going to pay for it?"
Speaking of, in the game, you actually could hear like the hot dog guy, and the Mets Stadium is at a City Field by LaGuardia Airport, and the developers of the game actually coded airplanes taking off and landing. So like you could be in the middle of a night game, a day game, and you see airplanes landing and flying in the sky while you're at bat. It's really amazing, and they even coded like some of the walk-up songs that baseball players listen to, well, that they use when they come up to bat. You could sometimes hear some of the non-copyrighted songs play while you're coming to take a bat. It's really amazing.
What'd be even more amazing is we got this like, we always talk about extended universes in the movies and stuff like that, but what if MLB was part of the like flight simulator extended universe? If you were able to kind of, if you're playing a game and I'm playing flight simulator, I can fly over your game at night or whatever and see that. That'd be kind of cool.
You have an idea there for the next
I
flight
mean,
simulator on
it would require too much money and too much cooperation from companies with invested interest in not doing that. But it was a cool idea, I thought.
the. Well, I think that said, that is our last topic of the show today.
Yeah, like I said, I have a couple reviews. I won't promise anything anymore because I'm not delivering. I again apologize, but there should be some hardware reviews coming from me for Lenovo. We got some information about some new laptops coming out. We'll be writing about that this week as well. Um, yeah, I think that should be it on my end. So, with that being said, if you want to talk to us, catch up with us, yell at us, ask questions, or even be on the podcast at some point, you can reach out to me at Mindhead1 on Twitter. That's Mindhead1. And for my co host,
A back Jared.
yeah. And if you want to catch any news, don't want to necessarily go to our website, you can go to our Twitter feed. It's just on Microsoft on Twitter. Again, it's a great place for, again, not just my writing and Arif's writing, but we have tons of talented journalists there that write about all kinds of other stuff. So if you're a Teams person, Ravi's got you, and we got some developers on hand that write up some great stuff. So visit the Twitter there as well.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope to see you again soon. Same place, same time.
Yeah, again, stay safe, wear some masks, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
All right. Take care.